Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching. I help and empower wild-hearted and adventurous women of faith feeling caged and stuck unlock their true purpose and potential, break free from limitations, and thrive with confidence, courage, and hope. If you're curious to learn more about coaching with me, head to newwingscoaching.net and be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm Kristen Kurtz, your host. I pray this episode is like a holy IV of hope for your soul. Please help me welcome Naomi Kracht to the show. I'm very excited to have her on here today. We are actually connected through a beautiful, beautiful organization called Fellowship of Extraordinary Women, otherwise known as FEW, led by the beautiful Kimberly Joy. So that's how we got connected. And I don't even remember, like, something prompted in me to ask you if you wanted to share your testimonial. I can't exactly remember the fullness of how that came to be, but you gave your yes, and I am just so happy that you did give your yes. So before we get into your testimony and your story, would you just share a little bit about yourself?
So I am born and raised in Wisconsin. I live just outside of Milwaukee, and I have two growing kids that are now adults and on their own.
Oh.
I am married to a wonderful husband, Henry Kracht,
Hmm.
and we are empty nesters with our furry third, as we call him, Jordy, who
Oh.
actually became my service dog during
Oh,
my
really?
healing journey.
Oh, Jerry, you said?
Jordy, as in
Oh,
Jordy
Jordy.
Nelson, the Packer player.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're from Wisconsin. I have to remember that.
Yeah.
Lots of you like the Packers football team. Wow. So you have, how old is your furry puppy?
He will be 8 years old this summer.
Oh my gosh, how sweet.
And he's actually sitting here right with me. I'm inside my wellness center, and he's now transitioned more into a therapy dog
Has
since
he
I don't
really?
need to rely on him like I used to.
Okay. Well, as you guys can probably imagine, we're going to want to hear more about this. So tell us about this healing journey you've been on, and how did you have this moment of needing a service dog?
Yes, so that all began back in 2021.
Mhm.
At the end of 2020, I had suffered first a brain injury from a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
I searched high and low for ways to heal from that
Hmm.
because I did not like the support or lack thereof here locally. And I knew
Hmm.
that there had to be something better that could heal me
Yeah.
faster than the 2-year prognosis they gave me.
Oh my gosh.
So I sought care from a neuroplasticity center in
Hmm.
Colorado, where I learned the full potential of what therapies can do to really support the body going
Hmm.
through a challenging healing process.
Hmm.
And I came back after that treatment
Hmm.
program, and I was functioning fine.
Yeah.
However, a month later, I gave the wrong yes. I
Mm.
said yes to taking the Pfizer vaccine for COVID that
Oh.
had just started to roll out in our area.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I suffered a severe adverse reaction to it from
Oh.
that very day, from that very moment that I took it. And my health began to spiral
Oh my gosh.
down and really affected my nervous system, my ability to move, to
Mm.
think, to take care of myself. I mean, it just attacked
Oh my
my
gosh.
autonomic nervous system. And so the things that came natural,
Hmm.
like breathing and my
Mm.
heart rate and my blood pressure and
Yeah.
everything was just so out of sync in my body.
Oh my gosh.
And it was very concerning when I lost all
Hmm.
sensation in the right side of my body. The right side is the side they gave the shot in.
Oh.
And I started losing control of my muscles and having episodes of muscle weakness, episodes of tachycardia, episodes of near fainting,
Mm.
and just so many to like list. I don't really
Mhm.
want to take up our full
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
just listing it all out, but I was
Wow.
really in a world of hurt and in bad shape.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that my dog Jordy, when I was walking with him, and I
Hmm.
would feel like my muscles kind of stop functioning,
Hmm.
that he was, still able to pull me forward. He was able to help me get to standing by using him as, kind of like a brace and like he helped kind of
Hmm.
pull me up.
Oh my
So
gosh.
once I discovered that, then we pursued getting him formally trained and
Hmm.
certified and tested so that he was then able to go with me anywhere I needed to go in
Oh.
case my muscles decided to just stop working again. Like this was happening without warning.
Wow.
The episodes of tachycardia happening without warning, and it just bring me to a near screeching halt. So I definitely needed some assistance and, someone at least by my side as much as they could be. And Jordy was the answer.
Yes, like literally like a watchdog in essence.
Literally a watchdog, yes. And he's been my 24/7 partner
Oh.
and just such a blessing. I don't think I
Oh.
would be fully healed if it
Mm.
wasn't for his constant support and getting me
Yes.
through the roughest.
We thank him for his beautiful help. I have to go back to kind of the beginning, because I'm really big on our best yes, right? So would you be open to just even sharing a little bit of your journey into the yes? Like what led you to say yes? Did, wherever you got the shot, did they warn you of any of these things that could happen? Like, what did that look like for you personally? Like, what was, I just kind of want to dig in a little bit for the listeners who either, have stepped into this or maybe didn't, right? So, like, for me, I was very much like, I was a voice out on the street, like working in healthcare, like, please don't do it. So,
Mhm.
it's good to hear from, maybe somebody who's listening in who was in a position like me who said no, but want to hear like somebody who stepped into this, no judgment,
Yeah.
right?
Oh no, and this is a great segue and interesting story. So
Mhm.
I already knew better. My parents had exemptions from vaccines for me to protect
Okay.
me my whole life.
Okay.
So I did not have a record of taking vaccinations. However, the coercion and the
Mhm.
fear mongering and
Mhm.
feeling like, okay, I just got my life back. Now I might lose the ability to rebuild it if I don't step forward and, take
Mhm.
this. I
Yeah.
still wanted to continue on building the businesses that I had at that time. I was a practicing massage therapist as well as
Okay.
a newly budding real estate investor. And we had just
Oh.
completed our first flip in 2020. And I really wanted to continue down that path. And so
Mhm.
I felt that it was best to take
Mhm.
this to have my freedom of movement and freedom of, going where I needed to go. Um, and I had lost kind of touch with my family and my background. There was some family dynamics that separated us for over a
Yeah.
decade. And so they weren't in my circle of influence at the time when I gave that terrible yes.
Oh, okay.
And I had the wrong circle around me that was
Mm.
pushing me and encouraging me to do it along with them. And so that's how
Wow.
I stepped into this.
Yeah.
But I will definitely share with you. If you read my story in The Power of Yes, you will find out that this is predestined. This was the mountain
Mm.
that God needed me to be on.
Yeah.
My parents were both vaccine injured. So they knew the
Oh,
horrors of it. They lived it
wow. Oh my God.
and they fought for Wisconsin to retain the right to exemptions.
Hmm.
And
Oh, wow. Like how
I
many years
had I
ago?
watched this was I was just a little child watching them do these activities and fight for that protection
Oh, wow.
as well as Um, they were connected with other families that had had the worst case scenarios happen. So I'll
Um,
share just briefly like a
yeah.
story about Scotty Grant. We
Mm,
were friends with his family. My parents fought alongside Marge Grant and their family,
mhm,
to really bring change and have this discussion about what was happening around the DPT shots, which is what injured Scotty. And that really touched me. So it's kind of like, vaccines and vaccine injury just kind of kept like bubbling up in my life. So it was just one of those things where it was kind of like unavoidable. Like I was
mm,
predestined to go through this. So then
mm,
I could turn it around for good.
yeah.
That's here I am, what I'm doing
Yeah.
now that I have
Yes.
made it through the other side of my healing journey.
Mm. How many years ago was it that your parents were like in the fight for
They were in it in the 80s.
in the 80s?
So
So
the
early.
yes, the liability protection had just been signed by President Reagan,
Yeah.
and there was just this panic,
Hmm.
for those that were suffering these injuries from the DPT shot, which was one of the major factors of why the pharmaceutical industry pushed for that protection
Yeah.
because they knew it was damaging a lot of lives. And if they did not get protection, they were going to lose all of their wealth.
Ugh, it's so
And
evil. Ah.
so evil, yes. So I watched them in the infancy of like this battle, this line in the sand that had been drawn in the 80s, and so many people that were harmed by that decision and harmed by the products that were out there. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, what that one act did, it gave the industry the protection. So like the development of all these extra vaccines just skyrocketed
Hmm.
and ballooned the vaccine schedule from I think it was
Yeah.
originally just 12 all the way up to I think it's
It's crazy.
70 plus or more.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just getting out of control. And it's like,
Mhm.
please, let's just talk and stop this insanity. Let's take
Yeah.
a look at what they're putting in our bodies. Because
Mm.
unbeknownst to me at the time that I
Mhm.
took my COVID shot, it
Mhm.
was full of metals. It was
Mhm.
full of things that I would definitely not consent to. And they
Mhm.
intentionally left that information out of the
Mhm.
public viewing. And if you looked at the inserts that came with the vaccine itself, there
Mhm.
was print at the top that said intentionally left blank.
I
And I
saw
found this
that.
out after the fact that it
I
did me
know.
damage.
I was like, wait a moment.
Yes.
Wait a moment. Yeah, I mean but at the same point, like what would you say to somebody? I actually have a gal that I know who is actually helping teens in like a health class learn how to read package inserts like as part of a health class. I think that's incredible because for those who, like for me personally, years ago, I just trusted everything the doctor said until I woke up because I had some moments of like, wait a minute. What would you say to somebody who is just kind of blindly following maybe a medication or a vaccine, whether it's for themselves or their kids? Like, what would you do different now? Like, what would you do different? I guess that's kind of my question that I'm getting at. Would you read the inserts? Like, what would you do?
Oh, yeah. I read the inserts. If the inserts don't make sense, I look up what the terms are or what the particular ingredients do.
Hmm.
So I go layers deeper
Yeah.
to understand what that can do to my body.
Hmm.
So now I do my own risk analysis before I even consider taking the supplements. I
Hmm.
have to understand, is this right for my body? What
Right.
should I anticipate feeling? What should I look out for? What are the
Hmm.
positive signs that it's working so I know that it's good and to continue versus these are the warning signs. And I would definitely like educating people on
Hmm.
that whole research process.
Yeah.
Until this happened to me, I didn't know how to look through a research paper and find like some critical key pieces
Hmm.
that validate whether this is good research to trust or not. You
Right.
look up who's funding it. And if it's the pharmaceutical funding
Hmm.
the research for their product, okay, well, then it's highly biased and you cannot
Exactly.
trust it and do
Yes.
not move forward with that research paper.
Hmm.
So these are critical skills that I think
Yeah.
would benefit any like teen or young adult who's going to like start to make their own decisions very soon. They need to be
Yes.
equipped with those skills.
Yes.
Otherwise, they're going to suffer the consequences just like I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you like so on this path, he's using this situation and turning it for good. Romans 8:28 is what's coming to mind. So since this has happened, you were dealing with a lot of very like adverse reactions. Your body was obviously having a lot of turmoil from what was in the shot, and how quickly did you experience these things? Ever hear something on this show that stirs something deep, like a nudge from God that there's more? That's stirring. It's not random. I'm Kristen Kurtz, host of Hope Unlocked and the founder of New Wings Coaching, and I'm inviting you into a 45-minute unlocking session, a sacred space to press in, hear what heaven is saying, and activate your next bold step. If you're a trailblazer or kingdom voice ready to break free from doubt and live fully alive, this is for you. Book now at newwingscoaching.net/hope unlocked for special listener pricing. You were born to live uncaged and unapologetically bold. Now back to the show.
Well, I felt some immediate effects, like my heart was beating out of my chest. I was suddenly nauseous, like I had been poisoned.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and little did I know that they took the directive away to aspirate the needle before you move forward. And that's a key thing to realize, not only were they rolling these out, they were rolling them out in an unsafe manner.
Mm.
So I fully believe that removing that instruction is what led me to be injected into a vein instead of the muscle. I should never have tasted it, and I tasted it. It was
They put it in your
horrible and
vein?
metallic. Yeah. So not only did I take a product, it went straight into the vein and straight into the area where it wasn't supposed to because they removed that directive to aspirate before you inoculate.
Oh
Um, and so that step was missing, and I paid the price.
my gosh. Can,
Yeah.
can I ask, like, was this done like at a clinic? Was it done at a pharmacy?
This is another
At
interesting part of the
like
story.
an auto body shop?
No, we
I'm
went to Lambeau Field of all places.
wait.
Yes.
Were you at a football game?
No,
Okay.
it was off season. So they were using the large venue to offer like these vaccine clinics so people could come in the hundreds, and you sat there in the seating, you filled out the paperwork, you signed, off on the authorization, and then you waited, and then they would just, inoculate you and then move on to the next.
Like while you're sitting in the stands?
No, this was actually inside. I think at first time we went there, it was in like the rotunda, so
Oh,
like
okay. I'm
inside
getting
the
this visual
stadium.
of like somebody walking around, like the popcorn person, like
Yeah.
handing out popcorn. I'm like, oh no.
No, no, and it was
Okay.
different. And then the second shot was the one that injured me. That was actually given to us on the club level. So these luxury suites. So that we were in this like atmosphere of luxury.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they had it set up a different that time. So they made it more private, smaller spaced. And I'm like looking back at it now, I was like, huh, I bet that was intentionally done that way. Um,
Wow.
because what happened is it gave me the shot in the one room. I
Mhm.
started reacting. I started feeling dizzy and nauseous, and I am obviously too ill to just walk away and leave. So
Hmm.
they instructed me to go across the hallway into a
Yeah.
room where they already had like a gurney already set up, you know, as a
Seriously?
CYA just in case someone had a medical emergency. And they had staff just kind of walking around and just, checking up on people post inoculation.
Hmm.
They didn't offer me any care. They didn't really offer me any proper monitoring, even. You figured if I'm having palpitations, maybe they should throw a blood pressure cuff on me and keep it on. No, I
Yeah.
didn't get that. No, they're just like, just go in the other room, relax, and just see if, you calm down and you feel better. Well, that probably took me well over a half an hour to even get my like heart and to calm down and the dizziness and the spinning to subside. I was doing breath work and a meditation, to really, calm down my body's response. And it was an awful, awful, traumatic
Oh my
experience.
goodness. So they left you in there by yourself.
Yeah, it was just me and my husband. And they would pop their head in every now and then, ask, how are you feeling now? Are you okay? Um, I did have someone run and try and find me some sort of flavored beverage. Like I was so disgusted by that taste that was stuck in my mouth. I said, just
Like
get me anything.
metal?
Get me
Was
a
it metal?
soda. Just give me something flavored. I just don't want to taste this,
What
you
did
know.
it was it like a metal taste?
It was a metal taste, yes. And I mean, there's a heavy amount of aluminum in all these shots. So, it's
Whew.
something that you should never really taste because it should never really go into your body in that manner.
Mm. Okay, so I have to go back a little bit. So you had the first shot at Lambeau and then the second shot at Lambeau. How long between did they suggest a certain amount of time between, or did you like just kind of decide?
Yes, no, they definitely had a set schedule and they made us set up our second appointment at the time of the first, and they were spacing it out 3 weeks. So my
Just 3 weeks?
first 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so not even a full month, to see how the body was going to respond.
Oh my
But
gosh.
they like rolled out that second one within 3 weeks. And I had my first one on April 21st, 2021. And the
Okay.
second one was May 12th, 2021. And this is kind of ironic. I recently stumbled back upon that original vaccination card that they gave me just recently.
Hmm.
It stumbled out of my papers that I was sorting through. I'm like, ugh, just disgusted by looking at it now.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're in this room, you're not getting much help. Like what comes next? Like I mean, I would have been having a hissy fit personally, but like what happened next? Did they just send you home? Did you go to the doctor? Did you go to the hospital? Like what happened?
No, they just sent me home. My husband and I were up in Green Bay for his work, and he
Hmm.
had a full crew up there. So this was like a long-term project, and we were staying in a hotel.
Okay.
So what I just wanted to do is get back to Jordy and just
Oh.
try and erase the memory of that traumatic event
Hmm.
out of my memory, out of my mind, and it was difficult. I had to cling to my husband to even walk out of the stadium. And we
Oh,
got to the hotel. I was just still mentally out of sorts. I mean, physically, the heart was calming down a little bit, but I'm just like, whoa,
yeah.
what just happened and what am I in for?
Hmm.
So that was just the very beginnings,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how I was going to wake up and how my body was going to respond in the coming days and even months. And it
Mhm.
didn't all hit at once.
Okay.
So the next thing that kind of appeared, I had felt a pop in my right lung, in my rib cage area.
Oh
And
my
this was
God.
on the drive back home, a little over 24 hours later.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting.
Like a really
Maybe
like very like a painful kind of pop?
a painful kind of pop. Yeah,
Mm.
like I just kind of cracked a rib,
Oh,
bruised the rib, and I thought it was maybe from like the the bouncing of the van, because his
Mhm.
van is pretty big and it's definitely not a smooth ride. So I
Mhm.
was already trying to kind of excuse it away, like, oh, this can't be happening. This can't be,
Mhm.
but day by day, I was like getting sicker. Like the pain in the rib cage would just not go away. I couldn't take a deep breath.
Mhm.
It was, I was starting to feel some nerve pain, neuropathy kind of
Mhm.
start to shoot down the right side of my body.
Oh.
So I'm like, uh-oh, I've
Mhm.
had a pinched nerve before, so that
Mhm.
sensation was familiar. And I'm like, okay, this is not good.
Yeah.
And then I started looking up, like, at this time, I had just let go of my health insurance like months before.
Oh, wow.
Um, and didn't have an active plan. So before I could even consider going in to be seen, I had to go to the marketplace, pick out a plan,
Mhm.
and then choose who I wanted to try to see. But I
Mhm.
knew that time meant um, nerve
Mhm.
health.
Mhm.
So if I let it go for too long without intervening and it went numb, that's nerve death.
Yeah.
So I started to feel the loss of sensation, and that nerve pain turned into numbness. Like I think it was like roughly about, you know, 6 weeks in.
Okay.
It morphed, and then I'm like, oh great, now I'm worried and
Mhm.
panicking, and I chose to actually reach out to Solstice Health here. It's like a directed primary care type
Mhm.
of option. So it wasn't the full traditional medical system, because at this point, my trust had definitely been strongly damaged by
Yes.
my experiences. And so I decided to work with a nurse practitioner. And
Yeah.
at least this way, working with directed primary care, I could direct my own course of action. So I would say,
Mhm.
yes, I would like to have this test run and that test run, or I'd like to see
Oh.
this specialist. They had referral networks already established. So
Oh.
they sent me in for the MRIs that I needed. They
Mhm.
sent me to or referred me to a neurologist once they
Mhm.
heard about the numbness and muscle weakness
Mhm.
issues. And so they began kind of like the search for answers.
Mm. Wow.
And I went through, I kid you not, I think it was at least 12 radiological tests.
Really?
I went through first the neurological specialist who tested me fully for MS, because that's what they thought in all reality this could be.
Mhm.
The tests came back free of lesions. And so they're like, well, this is not it. We don't know what
Mhm.
it is. You
Mhm.
still like measure with the deficits, and
Mhm.
but we have no answers for you. And this became basically just like a running theme
The answer
over
was no
and
answer.
over. Yes.
Hmm.
And
Now,
they
did
said,
you like when you went in, did you tell them like of your experience after that second shot? Like you knew, like did you know at that point and share with them that you knew that this was from that shot?
yeah, it took a couple months to fully accept that all this was happening because of the shot and to start
Mhm.
speaking up about it and advocating. I'm not sure if I mentioned it to the neurologist at first, because I was still like thinking, well, maybe this is just MS. And,
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
was almost to the point of accepting that as my diagnosis
Oh,
and my reality.
yeah.
It wasn't, I think, until about August where it's just like, okay, no. And I saw like this interview that Senator Johnson had hosted a press conference
Yeah.
in June in Milwaukee. My friend actually sent me that recording, my friend
Yeah.
Brian. He says, you need to see this.
Mhm.
This could explain what you're going through. And then it was like confirmation 100%. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
this is the cause. Now, what do I do?
Mm.
you know
Okay.
and then I started really becoming outspoken with any other
Mhm.
doctor that I had to go to. They sent me to a
Yeah.
hematologist, they sent me to rheumatologist. Took a really super long time to get into the pulmonologist, which was
Oh my
ironic
gosh.
because in one of the first imaging tests that I ever took during this
Hmm.
time. They discovered that I had developed a pleural effusion. Going back to that pop in my rib cage,
Yeah, yeah.
that is where it started.
And what is that for those
That,
who don't know what that means?
yeah, so that is the buildup of fluids between your lung and your rib cage. So that
Mm.
explained why I was feeling that pain because my that the there was this pocket of fluid that was basically rubbing and being very abrasive against that area, against the pericardium, and the rib cage there. So incredibly painful.
Mhm.
And that was my one and only like true like diagnosis and indisputable answer I ever got, ironically.
Really?
Yeah, but they should have seen that pleural effusion and sent me to a pulmonologist way sooner. It took
Mhm.
like I think 9 to 10 months to get in with him. And
Oh.
here I sat with fluid in that area this whole time, making it really difficult on
Mhm.
my breathing. And it also, seemed to stress my heart, having
Mm.
that fluid imbalance and
Yeah.
pressure.
Mhm.
So yeah, I anytime that I spoke up about the connection to the vaccine is where they'd shut me down.
Yeah, I was going to ask because that's what because I was researching a lot too, and like I said, I was doing a lot of things, and that's what I kept hearing is that anytime somebody would mention if they had an adverse reaction or what have you, they would just be like, "Nope, that's not possible," and it's like, wait a second. So how did you? I don't know. How did you cut through all of this? And I have to ask, you just had gotten on insurance. This had to have cost you like just a ton of money out of pocket, right?
Yeah, it makes me sick to my stomach to think how much money we had to spend.
Mhm.
I have not had the courage to even do a full accounting yet,
Yeah. Well,
but you're
just it's
probably looking
beyond
like
what you expected.
beyond. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
destroyed
it's
me
better not to
financially.
know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's better not to know.
yeah.
So, eventually you're on the other side now. So what did that journey look like between, those 9, 10 months of like kind of being thrown around the system? What did you do after that point then?
It came to like I would say my awakening
Hmm.
to realizing the matter of this situation.
Hmm.
That if I continued to pursue the path working with the medical system, what it was doing to me was more traumatizing. It was setting me back in my healing rather
Hmm.
than helping me.
Hmm.
And one of my good friends, Mike, he was a radiologist. He actually said, "Hey, you realize that this is a new product, and these
Hmm.
are new things, new issues coming about that
Hmm.
they have no clue, number one, how to test for, they have no clue how to address.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop trying to bark up the wrong tree, give it
Mm.
time, let the science catch up." And I
Mm.
said, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I began like going on this quest for the real truth about
Mhm.
how our bodies work,
Mhm.
how our bodies are designed. Because I've started seeing a lot of inconsistencies
Mhm.
in what my body was feeling and what my body was telling me and what traditional medical knowledge was pushing us
Mhm.
towards. Like
Yeah.
I was dealing with gastroparesis,
Mm.
for that whole first year. So it was
And what
basically
is
my
that for
stomach.
people who don't know?
Yeah, my stomach was very slow to move foods through and digest. So it would cause this painful bloating. I'd feel
Oh,
nauseous, even just trying to eat just a few bites of food. It was
oh my
incredibly
gosh.
painful and challenging.
Yeah.
But I was
Oh.
living in this paradigm where, oh, we got to have 3 meals a day. And if you're not eating, then this is bad. So I
Mm.
was still forcing myself to
Mhm.
eat and to try and get 3 meals down. And it
Mhm.
was just a disservice to my body because what it needed was that full rest so
Mhm.
it could heal
Mhm.
itself, so that my gut could heal itself and focus on,
Mhm.
you know, responding to what was going on, which was, all triggered by the vaccine. So
Mhm.
that is kind of where like things started to like turn. I exited the system. I
Mhm.
started doing my own research and seeking the truth. And then from there, I was still like really spiraling in pain. The
Mhm.
pain started kind of creeping in. So I went through like this weird kind of roller coaster of
Mhm.
neuropathy at first and then numbness and then back up to like unimaginable pain all throughout my spine this time. It like
Oh,
felt so bad and like it felt I could feel it like it was in my spinal fluid. And
oh
so I
my
begged
gosh.
for a lumbar puncture a couple of times, you
Wow.
know.
Wow.
But I knew it's like, okay, nope, they're not even going to have an answer for me, even with that painful for procedure. And thankfully, they said no.
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, if I can't trust in man and man doesn't know what's going on, I better seek God's help with this.
Mhm.
And I got to
Yeah.
that point of just, okay,
Like
Lord,
utter
do not
surrender,
take
right?
this pain.
Yes.
Please do not let me wake up for another day of this torture unless you start showing me what to do.
Mm.
I
Wow.
just let go and let God. And I said that was my first,
Mm.
big yes, that to surrender to his way and his guidance.
Yeah.
And that's when my journey began towards
Mm.
healing.
Mm.
Um, Back then, there was still not a lot known about what was going on. So I didn't have like a
Mhm.
protocol or anything to follow to help me heal.
Mhm.
So what he led me to was first kind of like work on my mind and my emotions. So
Mm.
getting that under control and getting that under control
Mm.
then helped me start to re-regulate my nervous system. I was seeking care uh, with a muscle system specialist because of the muscle dysfunction, thinking that, well, maybe her therapy could help activate some of the function in my muscles.
Mhm.
And it did, but it wasn't always lasting. And then she's like, well, I think this is truly connected to the shot and the nervous system. So
Mhm.
Emily, she helped talk me through what was going on with my body. We were problem solving. We were trying to
Mhm.
figure out things that I could do that
Mhm.
would be a benefit, that would help.
Mhm.
So that was huge help in the very beginning. And that cranial sacral therapy that she offered me
Mhm.
weekly, my body responded very, very well towards.
Mm.
Looking back on it now, I think that was critical in the early stages of it because now I was starting to dial back the
Mhm.
overactive nervous system. It takes the nervous system is the longest to heal.
Okay.
So I'm glad that God pointed me in that direction right away, and then taking away the mental and the emotional turmoil from it. I had to kind of quiet down that chaos inside of me
Mhm.
and to really be silence myself to hear his guidance
Yes.
and then to lead to the next thing that I needed to learn or the next person that I needed to
Mhm.
work with. And he led that just so beautifully.
Oh, he's so good like that. If we just get still enough and surrender too, right, to the process.
Hmm. I was learning things like meditation and following epigenetics and Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And I'd
Mhm.
actually gotten to a point of getting to some success with that. And it
Mm.
got me into a spontaneous remission from my symptoms for like almost a couple months.
Oh, wow.
Just from that work, I hadn't done any supplementation. I hadn't done anything out of like the extreme ordinary.
Hmm.
Besides just looking for what are my options, what's out there. Became this like full on exploration
Hmm.
and learning the things that were not so mainstream.
Hmm.
So leaning in and leveraging those things really brought about some amazing progress.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it wasn't like permanent at first because I suffered injuries to my knees, and so was definitely desperately needing a knee replacement of both knees.
Okay.
And so I took that remission time as a sign of, oh, maybe I can work on my knees now because I need
Mhm.
to get at least one repaired so I could start to walk better.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that sent me into pretty serious relapse just
Oh, okay.
within like, well, right after I noticed things going wrong. I had zero pain management with that first knee replacement. It was very challenging
Oh,
because my nervous system was sent back into that state of kind of
oh,
shock and overwhelm again.
yeah.
So I made some like stumbled and, made some bad decisions here and there,
Hmm.
but God still is so good and pointed me to that next person or that next answer.
Hmm.
And for me, that took a lot of learning how to be patient and learning how to listen and working with the spirit.
Hmm.
And that is right around the time where the Fellowship of Extraordinary Women came into my life. It was
Yeah.
in March of 2022. I was still incredibly sick.
Mm.
Um, and I knew that I definitely needed a strong support system. And that's where my support system began
Oh, wow.
and to blossom. And they prayed me up and
Yeah.
loved on me.
Oh, so beautiful. And then did you have like other, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, but in doing all your research too, did you find others who were walking a similar journey as you as well, who had injuries and were finding a different pathway out?
Yes, we found a community of ours virtually.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't have like any in-person connections of anyone else going through this. So there were thousands and thousands of us
Mm.
collect, kind of collectively coming together in these
Mhm.
virtual support groups, mainly based off of like Facebook and
Okay.
other ways where we could virtually connect and talk about things. And
Did they
that
kick
was
your
a
group off? Because Facebook
huh?
kicked me off a lot. Did Facebook ever try to kick the group off?
Oh yeah. The
Okay.
first reiteration of this, they shut down and deleted that group. And so suddenly thousands of people were without a way to connect. And so they
Yeah.
had to rebuild these groups. And it's not just once or twice, several
Yeah.
times. And people like that were outspoken on social media,
Yeah.
we'd have our profiles shut down and she'd have to
Mhm.
create new ones. And
Yeah.
you had to be clever and you had to be clever
Yeah.
about how you talked about it in
Yeah.
general public,
Yeah.
on your page, otherwise,
Hmm.
they take your post down, they would
Hmm.
suspend your account. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous, the hurdles
Yes.
that we had to overcome
Hmm.
just to connect and start talking about this because certainly the doctors weren't listening.
Right. Right. Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you found people during that time because really we do need community, especially when we're walking. I mean, we need community all the time, but especially in this like scenario where this is a new like issue, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And did you feel alone for a long time because like nobody was really giving you any answers?
I felt alone going through the day to day.
Hmm.
There's no way to really get through that but to go through it on your own.
Hmm.
My family and loved ones couldn't understand what I was feeling, what I was going through. So
Hmm.
it was very isolating, I would say, very isolating because you couldn't physically feel well enough to interact with the world. You didn't have the energy or the strength to even hardly take care of yourself. And so
Yeah.
there's this kind of gap between, like, I considered it the world of the living and the world of the ill,
Yeah.
and it was tough to navigate through that and to
Yeah.
not feel something emotionally from it.
Hmm. And at that point, like, were you also not able to, obviously not able to do massage, but the like you said house investment. I can't remember exactly the terminology,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I was in real estate investing. And so I
hmm.
tried for a while.
Hmm.
Oh, I think it was for several months to keep that going. But then my cognitive abilities just declined so poorly that it was just like I was forgetting things and I was making poor decisions. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is going to spell disaster. And then I had to give up on that too.
Oh, wow.
The massage therapy I had to give up really early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. That must have been so challenging. But
Mhm.
now, like fast forward to now, part of why I wanted to have you on was to share where you are now and how you've like literally, I like to call it flip the script in so many different ways. Tell us a little bit about how you are actually like literally flipping the script here.
Yes. So the turning point for me physically in my healing journey came when I was introduced to a naturopath.
Hmm.
Dr. Henry Ely was designing an educational course
Hmm.
to help the vaccine injured. Now, at the time, he was doing some free clinics. So he would come in and just kind of like help talk and guide us through,
Hmm.
some of the things that we could consider doing,
Yeah. And was he
educating us.
local?
No, this was all virtual.
Oh, wonderful.
But
Okay.
he was the first to really just offer his services without an exorbitant fee. I mean, there were some doctors helping,
Hmm.
but it was mainly telehealth and it was very expensive to get
Wow.
their services.
Hmm.
So he was doing the free clinics and then he launched his class, The Art of Cellular Healing, in February of 2023. And
Hmm.
I jumped on board immediately. I had already gained or trusted him just from the interactions from all those free clinics. And I knew that he was knowledgeable and he was loving and he was to
Hmm.
be trustworthy. And, I just felt like this goodness and this connection. Like, when you meet the people you're supposed to meet, your soul tribe
Yeah.
is kind of connecting all organically. And
Hmm.
that's what I felt when I took that course. And I dove into the work. He had designed sorry, uh,
Okay.
a sequence, a healing sequence. Okay. So it wasn't just a blind protocol. Here is
Hmm.
40 things that you can take and no other guidance. No, he
Yeah.
had a full, robust
Hmm.
system already, developed for us. And all we had to do is just trust and follow and do the work. And
Wow.
he taught us how to do that work.
Hmm.
And it was through that articellular healing process that my body began to heal itself.
Wow.
I
Wow.
had energy again and I started having a functioning stomach.
Mm.
And boy, that was like a huge turning point with those
Yeah.
two things.
Hmm.
The healing sped up exponentially. And by the end of that first round of the course was like, I think took us 3 months or so to complete.
Hmm.
I was fully recovered by the end.
Fully in 3 months.
Yeah. And I mean,
Wow.
yeah, and I attribute that a lot to like the work that God led me to up and prior
Yeah.
to that time, So my body was well positioned and ready to heal. I just needed
Hmm.
to do the right things in the right order.
Hmm.
And so once he kind of showed us how to do that, I mean, my body responded very quickly
Mm.
and it
Yeah.
took longer. It depends because we are all, a product of all the bioaccumulation of all of our choices and all of our upbringing. So my parents were, I guess you would call them a bit crunchy, so they're more
Hmm.
natural. They never had a microwave in the house. They cooked home cooked foods all the time. So not a lot of like
Yeah.
experience with processed foods and they were all into
Hmm.
supplementation and so they were into these healthy practices even with our water. We
Yeah.
never drank the tap water. We always went to this well, this iron well that we have local
Oh,
in Milwaukee, so they were doing the right thing so I didn't have like
yeah.
this
So
huge
they were on the cutting
bioaccumulation.
edge.
Yeah. So I was lucky to have that. So it was
Mhm.
less challenging, I think, for me than to have the quick results that I had. For others, they'd had taken the whole sequence of all the shots, and so it was going to take a lot longer for some people to recover than others.
Yeah.
I was just very blessed to kind of have that environment and that background. So
Yeah.
my body responded very well, very quickly. And I just
Mhm.
thank the Lord that, he gave me that experience. And then I
Yeah.
became certified then in
Oh,
that program, the Art of Cellular Healing. And to
okay.
this very day, I still am involved as a teacher's aide. So
Are
we're
you?
like kicking off our next group of students at the end of this month. So it's work that I very much love
Yeah.
and it's very meaningful
Mm-hmm.
because this is tough and you need a support system. You need a group of people, especially to do the courageous work that you need to do. And this is at times very physically challenging going
Yeah.
through these stages. And, the detox and cleansing process can just, yeah, be tough.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that made all the difference in the world. And that's just kind of like, that next aha or that next yes that I had to give is like, okay, now you've
Mhm.
obtained all these experiences, the knowledge.
Yes.
You have some certifications now that you're
Mhm.
accumulating.
Mhm.
What's the next step? And God put it on my heart that, no one else was going to be able to create these support systems and care options besides the injured themselves at
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
And so I got to work researching what I wanted to bring into my practice,
Mhm.
the therapy choices, how I wanted to provide it, structure it. And so
Mhm.
I was called then to create my own nonprofit. I'm actually registered as a 508c1a, which is a private membership association, or it's also called private ministerial association. So I very much felt like, yes, this is what I need, a different
Mhm.
solution for the problem where it's more
Mhm.
a healthcare ministry. I
Mhm.
wanted to walk alongside them in their process, not just, you know, give them a therapy and then let them walk out the doors. So I began work on kind of pulling all these pieces together. And that journey, took a lot of time, a lot of
Did it?
resources,
Mhm.
finances, and I had to take my time with it
Mhm.
because I lost all my wealth when I lost my health, so it's just
Mhm.
rebuilding and
Mhm.
relying on my husband and his generosity
Aw.
to be able to make that next step, that next purchase of a therapeutic device, and, to finally be able to get to a point where in 2025, where I was able to open up my first center.
Yeah.
I still have goals and intentions of like,
Yeah.
okay, now it's, figure this out and then
Mhm.
be able to teach and scale it. So
Mhm. Mm. And
I
what is the name of it?
intentionally chose Revive Me Holistic Centers as
Mhm.
my nonprofit name,
Mhm.
knowing that I wanted to either like grow and expand into other areas of the country because I know
Yes.
resources are like very thin
Mhm.
across areas, and I
Mhm.
wanted to like create this opportunity now for people where they can come get the compassionate
Mhm.
care that we
Mhm.
truly deserved.
Yes. So if somebody comes there, like what happens when they walk in the door? Like what can they experience? What are you offering there?
Well, this there's going to be quite a mouthful here. I offer um, 8 hands-on therapies. I also offer health coaching,
Mhm.
massage therapy. I have some access to assessment tools. So I do a bioenergetic scan. They walk in, we sit down first and do a consult. We talk about what's
Mhm.
going on with them, and we do the assessment process.
Mhm.
And I sit and I kind of like sort through the data and do like a little more research and like make some recommendations. And the way I structured with the therapies I chose is that they are very synergistic, and
Mhm.
it creates its own kind of like sequence in and of itself. So vibration plate therapy gets the lymph flowing, which
Mhm.
is most important. You need your elimination channels open.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you're in a detox, you need that vibration plate therapy to
Mhm.
get that lymph moving through the body and releasing the toxins out of the body.
Mhm.
So from there, I have red light therapy and PEMF
Mhm.
and sauna. Those I consider like kind of like my core foundational therapies that anybody dealing with anything should be doing at least those 4.
Mm.
But I also knew a large percentage of vaccine injured were experiencing neurological issues. And so I looked into the therapies that could support that type of healing, added in RTMS, which was very beneficial in helping me heal my brain from the brain injury the first time. So I knew that it was very effective.
Mm.
I also heard tremendous things about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, so I've included that as well.
Okay.
And some other lesser known ones that are more frequency based healing. I have AO Hub mind engagement therapy. So it's using light stimulation with the eyes, um, and sound therapy to basically harmonize the frequencies that are
Mm.
meeting together. So there's I don't know if you know a lot about binaural beats and how it's administered. You have one tone in the left ear and a different tone in the right, and then it
Mm.
meets in the middle in the brain where it processes and basically it creates this coherence within the brain.
Wow.
So you're
Wow.
helping to retrain the brain, which is very critically important when you're dealing with the dysfunctions and the nervous system conditions that we are experiencing.
Hmm.
So it's putting together all these little pieces as I discovered them. And I still have, like, of course, a wish list of other things I want to
Yeah.
eventually build and add on. But I mean, the core therapies I think lend very well to help a person not just feel better temporarily, but if you
Mm.
consistently use them,
Yeah.
you're going to get the progress building upon each other. Um, I also use cryotherapy to actually activate the vagus nerve. So
Mm.
that cold therapy stimulates that vagus nerve response and helps the vagus nerve tone, and heal. So
That's incredible.
yeah, it's just God sent how I've been even able to experience and discover these things and kind of have this knowing that
Yes.
yes, this is the right step forward,
Yeah.
and then being able then another piece of this too is just like, okay, well, I went and I tried a lot of different wellness centers,
Hmm.
I checked out a lot of different places. What I came across was like this barrier of, well, this is way too expensive because they were like
Yeah.
offering it, these really high session prices. And it's like, well, I'm lucky if I can afford to do it once or like once a month.
Right.
And
Right.
then you're not going to make the progress with that. And so I'm like, well, okay, well, I have to figure out a solution to this.
Yeah.
So when I opened up my doors, I felt called to offer more of a membership type experience where they come in and they are encouraged to use these therapies at least 2 to 3 times a week, and I made it affordable enough for these
Yeah.
memberships that they can have like this place to call their healing home.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I offer also like the coaching to go with it. I have a healing library full of books and resources for them to read, learn, and discover things on their own. I coupled that with now I'm adding in some products and some supplements,
Hmm.
and I'm giving them like a robust opportunity full of solutions for them to cling to, for I'm trying to keep it a reasonable
Hmm.
cost membership, and I'm
Hmm.
sure that's going to change as I reinvest and I add in new things.
Hmm.
But then that's why I chose the structure that I chose as a nonprofit. So now I can go for the grants and go for fundraising so I can,
Yes.
in the future offer even care scholarships if I do have to increase my price. I
Yes.
want to make care accessible, affordable, and
Mhm.
meaningful that can set people free from a life of illness and dysfunction and back into living the life that God meant for them,
Yes.
living in these bodies that God has created for us and restoring it back to its divine design, basically.
Yes.
That's my goal.
Hmm. I love that. I just love everything you've shared. Just if you guys are listening in today, the journey, I mean, it's been like 5 years at this point now, right?
Yes. It'll be five in
And
May.
to see, like we have a choice, right? We have a choice when we go through something to, I like to say, kind of be a pit puller, right? We come out of the pit and we're given these tools and keys and revelation, and we have a moment. We can just say, I need to go back and get others and help them, right? So you
Yeah.
did that. You're doing that. You're doing it like in such a beautiful way. Where is the Revive Me Healing Center located?
It is located in West Allis, Wisconsin.
Okay. And so for people who are in the area, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you? And then do you work with people like from abroad, like in the coaching space? How would that work if somebody's wanting to get in touch with you from, let's say, Florida? Is that possible at all?
Yes, indeed. They can check out my website. They can contact me through my website.
Okay.
They can enlist my services virtually as a coach. I
Okay.
can even help navigate or help them with the search for a practitioner in their area
Oh,
that
that's
they can go
wonderful.
to for some of these therapies.
Okay.
I am working on the next phase, which is going to hopefully answer that next need, is creating a space that they can travel to and stay while they heal. So
Wow.
I have some opportunities here locally, to find um, a hybrid property where I can have my center on the first floor and then rooms for people to stay and lodge in while they go through the educational and
Oh,
restorative like therapies.
this is amazing, Naomi. Thank you. Like, thank you for your yes to help set others free in their healing journey.
Yes, it is
Thank you.
my greatest honor and
Mhm.
blessing to be given that opportunity. And I know God's got his hand all over this. So I know it's only a
Absolutely.
matter of time for that next phase so I can create this
Yes.
space for people to travel to and come
Oh,
for care and
beautiful.
become like a really strong resource for those that feel like they have no hope and they have no help in their area.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to travel
Hmm.
for my brain injury, and so I've definitely recognized all of the challenges that come with that. And
Hmm.
I believe God took me through all of these experiences just to show me here's the problem now, here's the opportunity, here's the solution
Yeah.
that I want you to create. And so it's just continuing to live in obedience and take those
Mhm.
next brave steps forward.
Yes. I
Yeah,
mean, you guys, I mean, these are big, brave steps to do this. It's huge. I just love everything that this path is just beautiful that he has you on. And I know it's not always easy, right? Our steps of obedience are challenging at times. And I just have like one more question for you. So, did you have like an anchoring verse throughout this journey? Like, was there a verse that you clung to during this journey that you've been on?
yeah, there were two ones that kept repeating a lot.
Hmm.
And that would be James 1, 2 to 4.
Oh yeah, I know that
Consider
one.
it pure joy.
Yep.
It was tough to look at my circumstances and even to consider it pure joy. But
Hmm.
being on the other side of it, I now see the
Yes.
beauty in that verse and it inspires me. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, you're going to go through some tough stuff, even developing this business and continuing to grow it. It
Hmm.
is not easy. And
No.
I cling to that verse
Amen.
because it's going to create the perseverance and it's going to create the results.
Hmm.
And then Romans 8, verse 28, knowing
What I
that,
said earlier, yeah.
yeah, I had that quoted to me a lot,
Oh,
and so it's
wow.
like people wanted me to cling to that hope that, God is going to take this bad and turn it into something good in the end. And here I
Yes.
am living that out in my walk. Uh,
Wow.
and it's kind of ironic that this is one of the first podcasts that I'm really sharing my full story on. Hope Unlocked.
I know.
One of
Yes.
my first iterations was actually as a health coach. I
Uh-huh.
named mine Infinite Hope Coaching.
Really?
Yes, and in the first appearance that I make in an interview, that was actually aired was it was New Hope was the docuseries title. And
Really?
then the title, the label that they gave underneath my name was the Hope and Health Coach. So
Well, no
hope
wonder you're
keeps,
here.
yeah, no wonder I'm here. So it's
Yes.
just like one of those things. I
Wow.
was anchored in hope, hope
Full
for I
circle.
can create something that will make an
Mm.
impact. And
Yes.
so
Well,
that's
I
here I
always
am. I'm
say,
living that
like,
out.
I call it the Hope Unlocked anchoring verse, which I always read at the end of every podcast, which I'll read right now just because we're talking about this. But it's may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope, which is Romans 15:13. So goodness, I think we might have to have you back on. I like to give a little space between for the next things, the next phases he has for you. I just want to say keep going. Thank you for sharing so bravely and not opening, openly. And I would love for you to just share what is the name of your website, if you could tell us that verbally, and then I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Sure. It is www.revivemecenters.com.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put that in the show notes. And as I shared with you prior to the, start of the show, and I do this, truly for the one, if you could just get somebody in mind as you're, just sitting there that's listening in today, are there any words of encouragement that you'd want to share over them? And then would you pray us out today?
Sure. As far as words of encouragement, I would like to just let them know that their hope for healing is not a lost cause.
Mm,
That yes, this journey is going to be incredibly challenging and difficult.
mhm,
But if you cling to God, you seek his guidance,
mhm,
you ask for the support that you need, it's going to come to you.
mhm,
There are an enormous amount of solutions still out there that I have yet to even discover.
mhm,
So there is always something else to learn, to try, to incorporate that
mhm,
may be the game changer in their story. So I just want them to stay strong, to
mhm,
hold on, to persevere, and to just take this as a time to lean in and create and establish this relationship, direct relationship with God,
mhm,
and to do the inner work, that is very scary to dive into, but it is so necessary to set you free from all the emotions and the trauma that you
mhm,
have experienced through this challenge,
mhm,
and that there is hope to then, to transform your lives to the best of your ability and to still make a difference out there. It's just, look at what I've been able to do. And I was no one I considered special. I was not a doctor. I did not have a tremendous amount of training.
mhm.
Just had a little bit of knowledge and a heart to help.
Yeah.
So that's all it takes to kind of point you in that right direction, and
Mhm,
just, yeah,
mhm.
lean in and cling to that hope, and that healing is yours.
Yes.
God wants to see you healed. He wants to see you, live an abundant, happy life.
Yes. Thank you. That's so good. Oh, well, would you pray us out today?
Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to share you
Mhm,
and the testimony that you've created from me
mhm,
of your healing grace and your love for us.
mhm,
You pursued me, you held me close and held me tight.
mhm,
And I know that you are the master healer. And I just want to pray, Lord, that you help guide us all and lead us to the truth, to the knowledge, to the true healing that we need both internally and externally
Mm,
for our bodies, mind, soul, and for full abundance and happiness.
mm,
And I thank you, Lord, for bringing us together
mm,
and giving us these opportunities to connect and to love on each other and to pray over each other and to help each other and to be that loving church, that community of believers, and to help create the things that need to be shared with the world.
mhm,
I thank you for your divine inspiration and for your loving sacrifice of your son.
mhm,
We can never thank you enough.
mhm,
We can never cling to you enough.
mhm.
And I thank you, Lord, for ever being steadfast in our lives and for never giving up on us, always being there despite how stubborn or
Mhm,
impatient we may be.
mhm,
Thank you, Lord, for your goodness and your mercy. And I
mhm.
pray that you multiply the work out there, that, Lord, there's so much need, and just help grow and multiply these pockets of people and communities and solutions and help bring us all together and to unite us in love and in healing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you so much for being a brave voice who's setting so many free. Definitely go check out the show notes, reach out to Naomi, check out her website if you're in the area. Definitely stop by her clinic. That is amazing. Can't wait to hear for phase 2, 3, 4, and beyond. Keep going. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I'll be back with another episode next week. Bye.
Bye.